And welcome back to the European LCS Summer Finals, where it's all tied up between Fnatic and Origen. Let's check in with the Coca-Cola viewing party at the Sinisa Diagonal in Barcelona, Spain. The fans are ecstatic behind FLICKR and Mythy in Spain after celebrating their Spanish captains taking Fnatic down in Game 1. They'll be a little more sad after Fnatic bounce back in Game 2 for obvious reasons. Let's talk picks and bans for Game 3. I feel red side. This time it is Origen on red side. They'll have the option to counter pick. I think both of the last picks were fairly crucial in the gameplay. That Gangplank early and then the Orion late versus the Varus late from Game 1.
Definitely seen the value of the Gangplank now, and we would assume that Fnatic would prioritize it above the Elise. So we might just see Origen this time around say, let's ban it away. We can always leave the Riven open then, because we are doing this for the potential counter pick. And then we would try and play around whatever the Elise first pick. Because Reignover in the early game, not really been having much of an impact. So this Elise hasn't paid off for him yet.
Well, to be fair, if they executed the dive properly, it could have been the impact he was looking for. Just want to play too much of a team player. Trying to give that kill over to Hoon. He said, nope, just steal it, get away with it. That's my approach when I play support. Overall, I just want to see more Braum. Because to my knowledge, Braum Shield actually blocks Gangplank explosive barrels too. So you can just negate so much of that damage, peel very well, and slow the Gangplank. If he pops Orange to get out of slow, you can still stun him. If not, he has to wait for a stun to land. So Braum's a good champion.
You really love the Braum every time.
I'm a big Braum fanboy. 100% win rate in the final so
yeah,
far.
There is a lot
Stats don't lie.
There's a lot of good things about Braum, 100%. Lulu, on the other hand, has been losing the 2 games so far. We've basically seen whenever you pop that Lulu ulti on someone, Gangplank crits him in the face, or Orianna shockwaves, and that target dies anyway. We haven't really seen the teams use their utility power of Lulu effectively yet, and that has been a problem, but both teams will probably still pick it.
All right, boys, I'm putting you on the spot. Predictions as we're about to jump into bans and picks in Game 3. Fnatic are blue side. Teams chose blue side for all of their respective games. What are you expecting? Last game, Azir, Victor, Riven. The same 3 bans Origen did, or 2 bans from previous Sivir, Azir, Riven. So
Azir will be banned by Fnatic. Kalista will now be banned by Origen because they're on the purple side. So, or Azir will be banned by Origen rather. So 2 bans are pretty much locked in already. So very low amount of flexibility. And if we keep getting pressured by the GP, eventually Kalista can actually open up in this series if it eventually goes to a Game 5.
Unless it's the Riven that we're talking about here. Remove the Riven ban, add in a Gangplank if you are Origen. Give away Lee's first pick to Reignover and say, we have shown we can deal with it. In the early game, get the Gragas for Amazing one more time. And make sure you pack some engage. We saw the last pick and ban phase here. Fnatic and Origen both had good compositions. I really liked the Olaf comp we saw from Origen. I just didn't like the way they were playing it. And that was really the problem. They got outplayed in the team fights. That needs to be fixed if they want to run the same thing again.
I think we saw a really big problem with that composition though. If you want to contest Fnatic's very stylistic, zone-controlled objectives, and you don't have the main man that you want to send in first already there, you have to draw him back from the top lane, let him base. He can't teleport in because you need Olaf to be your front line. That is the one weakness to that composition because you kind of need him in the top lane to even out the split push, but you kind of need him at the objective to run in head first as well.
So I want to expand on this thought, just an update for everybody viewing at home. There is an audio issue with Fnatic on stage. You can see the techies there busy working with the players to resolve the issue. As soon as we do, we will jump into picks and bans. But let's expand on these stylistic differences. Origen showed a somewhat split push focused team comp in Game 1, or poke comp rather, with the option. And then with the GP, Game 2, they went much for grouped. The power, the multiplicative power of the Lulu, the Sivir, the Olaf. Where do they go for Game 3? Because it's now them that have to adapt.
Well, the thing is, we know both teams can play different comps. That's why they're in the final, because the pick and ban phase has not really been a massive problem. If we look at the playoffs here, which we have seen from other teams, they have different compositions. We don't see poke very often from Fnatic, not expecting to see them fall back on that. They were never really that big on the Varus pick either for Fibban. I think we saw maybe once or twice all split long. That was more on the side of FLICKR. But we're going to see Fnatic keep focusing on teamfight comps. It's what they're best at. They're so good at setting up these objectives in advance, the vision control to get the right team fights. And therefore, Olaf coming in, yes, he has to recall, but he's fast enough at pushing out the wave, and then you have to engage to instantly start the fight if you are Origen and if they want to run the same thing.
So problem resolved. We are into picks and bans. Azir and Kalista was the 1 and 2. Let's see what else happens.
I think we might see a rumble this game actually open up with more bans going towards the top lane. Traditionally, it wasn't a good idea to ban out Huni because he simply had too many champions to play. But some picks are just too strong right now to leave open. At least allow yourself to dance around certain picks.
And getting rid of that Gangplank, if you do ban it, would open up for the Rumble pick, and again, these big team fight comes. Well, there it is, talking about it. And of course, it is on Origen's side because they knew Fnatic would prioritize it and first pick it.
If Rumble is a priority and if it's Origen that's thinking about it, we've seen Fnatic run Riven into it very successfully. So it's another one of those counters Origen have banned already as well.
Wondering why Fnatic keeps banning Kalista. Kalista did it game 1 as well on blue side, so why not hold that ban for later and force Origen to ban it themselves? Seem to really not want to play against this Kalista, against this Kog'Maw for some reason. May go back to scrims that we haven't seen, because obviously these teams would have been scrimming against each other prior to the final.
They seem very afraid of a potential Giacomo composition coming in from Origen, seeing as Fnatic has valued first picking Elise above a Lulu, leaving a potential hyper carry open could allow Origen to go like early rotation Lulu and then get the Giacomo composition after. And as Fnatic likes to run fairly low engaged compositions and teamfight focused, a Giacomo becomes very difficult to deal with.
Then why not just ban the Lulu and try to get rid of one of the biggest important components?
You also want Lulu yourself. I mean, the pick works for you.
You
We've
can't,
seen it time and time again.
can't bake a cake and eat it. I just missed that. I can't remember what it was. But anyways, Varus will be the next
I'm pretty sure you
ban.
can both bake and eat it, but okay.
Can't have your cake and eat it too,
That
clever.
was what I wanted to say. Varus is the next ban. It's the same from game 2. Lulu is still up and available. Riven is up and available. And Origen have banned Azir previously. They have left Azir up.
Interesting.
Is it first pick worthy?
Is Fnatic gonna call the bluff, say, expect how good is your Azir? Or they're just gonna first pick Elise like they've been doing so far, then get it on a later rotation. If Origen want to pick up the Azir early though, they give away their counter pick potential, so Fnatic wants to go for the early Elise, but they seem to be afraid, or at least acknowledging the pick with a hover. They lock in the Azir, they lock in the Corki.
Wow.
Okay, so they've been saving this one, banning the first 2 games, and Fnatic are basically saying, we don't have to first pick it because we haven't seen how well FLICKR can perform on the champion. That's why they leave it open to take the risk of getting that early pick Elise again for Reignover. So now FLICKR, we got to see what can he do in Azir. It is such a strong champion, Nash's Tooth. You can go Rylai's in second if you have these poke compositions. Insane amount of kite, insane amount of zone control basically coming in.
Need to see a third damage source with more 80 damage coming out of Soaz though somehow. Or a combination with an aggressive jungler, because this is a very magic damage heavy, very poke heavy too. However, it's just so much damage that it might not even matter.
Yeah, Origen very clearly looking to once again get the lead in the mid game, where there shouldn't be enough magic resist built up to really affect you. Obviously, Locket becomes such a valuable item, so no Runeglaive AP rush for you. Again, Reignover go back to being the tank Elise. That is going to be needed against the first 2 picks on the side of Origen, but it is super mid game focused. Shen support we should expect, but then again, Fizz is also a flex pick, so 2 flex picks coming in from the side of Fnatic, and 2 of them with a lot of synergy together. The split pushing power of a Fizz, especially once you start scaling up, is so insane, and then you add in the Shen ulti. That's tough to stop for Origen.
Fizz mid should be a good matchup early into Azir, because you just put up so much damage, hop out, well, Azir spawns a soldier, just tries to whack away, but you really come untargetable, so a lot of pressure coming out in the mid lane if the Fizz gets played there. Probably will be.
So Fnatic still stick with Tristana as their AD carry. Who will Huni be playing top if he does not play that Fizz? For Origen, similar sorts of questions. Gragas is up once again. Amazing his run at both previous games, and his disengage power has been successful.
You can go Braum again if you want the disengage coming in. Otherwise, as you said, multiple supports are open for Origen on their side. We have seen Mithy on Thresh a few times this week. We know he's a fantastic Thresh player. However, it's not really been the highest priority for Origen if you look back at the entire spec.
Nope.
Alistar has been up there almost every time it was open for Mithy.
Slightly more offensive tools on a Thresh compared to a Braum. Origen obviously have really good disengage with Gragas and Emperor's Divide. Yeah, you can't Shurima shuffle somebody into your team as easily anymore, but you can still whack them away with that Emperor's Divide, so maybe some good hooks can come out of Mithy. Open up this matchup. FaZe can deny jumps as well. Stop Fizz from charging in too, so a lot of outplay potential on that champion.
Fnatic right now running very low amount of wave clear. That's always the risk when you pick a Fizz in your soul laners. He adds very little in that department because you can't trickster on the minions when teams are sieging on your tower. We know Origen is gonna get a Nash's Tooth on Azir and a Trinity Force on the Corki and start grouping and poking away at you. The Thresh can then land that hook and start setting up easy picks for the team if Fnatic is stuck under that tower. So they should need some wave clear come in unless they want to rely on winning the early game and then 1-3-1 split push it out.
So
It's not the safest of wave clear, but Lulu does a fairly good job with those glitter lances. You can also extend the range. So that Lulu still featuring 0-2 in the series so far. Fnatic look to change that. For Origen, one last pick. It will most likely be their top laner, Soaz.
And once again, Fnatic has still not shown their own top laner for Soaz to counterpick, because both Fizz and Lulu can go up there. Both of them can play it in the mid lane, or both champions can be played in the mid lane. We know Shen is going support on the side of Fnatic, a pick that worked really well against Unicorn Solar.
Technically,
okay, Lulu could also go support. Not expecting that one though.
Mostly seen on Unrated oversee of SK Gaming. Not favored that much by any other support players so far. We have a nice composition, spells out the game already. Split push with Fizz later on, 4-1. Protect the Reckless composition. And we saw last game, Reckless is confident in his team. He was jumping forward, expecting Oriana Ball to follow up and just save his behind, and it did. And really good confidence. And we've seen this in the past in the game against Giants as well, in the Hyper Kalista carry combination with Lulu Kalista, now replaced with Tristana. So later in the game, Tristana gets more attack speed from the Q, has Pixie on her. Do a whole lot of damage.
This should be Fizz top into the Hecarim.
Yeah.
Because once you hit level 6, it's very easy to land your ulti as the Fizz onto Hecarim, and then that trade is won by you. The first few levels can be annoying. Hecarim sitting there spamming Q in your face over and over, but that matchup later on is going to be more than fine for Huni to take it. Then you have the split push advantage suddenly.
And the first time that Origen played Fnatic, Soaz was playing Hecarim. It was into Huni's Echo, that particular matchup, and Huni went crazy on his Assassin. So we have a very similar matchup to a historical one that we've already seen.
And that matchup produced a lot of fire. 2 ignites, no flashes. Junglers will very likely show up in that matchup, and it tilts one way pretty hard. And once it does, it might actually tilt your opponent.
You can't outplay a tower dive without a flash.
Yeah.
But
well,
you do have Onslaught and Playful Trickster, so let's see.
Messing up a tower dive as Fizz and Elise is going to be very difficult. You have 2 things to reset the aggro of the tower. This is going to be easier to execute at least for Fnatic, but we have to see if they can do it in
Cast a curse.
You had to say it. You had to say it out loud. The moment you say it out loud, the exact opposite is what happens in game.
Unless I'm a blessing, and when I say it, it happens.
The Pulsar God himself has given the blessing to the tower dive potential. Guys, on Twitter, 1-1 is the current series score. Hashtag FNC win, hashtag OG win. Show your support. It was 52% in favor of Fnatic on Twitter. There's a whole lot more in favor in Stockholm. And we're loading up onto the Rift for Game 3 of the Summer Split Finals.
Fnatic using that blue side really well to have some flex pick coming in. We talked about how Soaz needed a physical damage dealer up in the top lane to really fit this composition Origen was running, and he had to go for Hecarim despite not knowing what he was facing.
The lack of exhaust in this series strikes me as a bit weird. If you think about Fizz charging, if you think about Reckless on that Tristana buffed up with the Lulu Pixie, just such good, efficient exhaust targets by the supports here, but both want to run Ignite, both want to win the lane, win the early to mid game, and snowball from there to see if it works out that way.
And another early play. This time it's Fnatic.
Is he going to start
making
jumping?
The moves. Huni's looking forward. The rocket jump doesn't slow. The Playful Trickster doesn't connect either.
What a waste.
A lot of information given to Origen.
Well, Soaz did start E as well on the Hecarim, so we'll slow down his early jumping quite a bit if he's deciding to group with Amazing, which is what we are expecting. Again, it is just the safest option if you don't know where the lanes are going. Start with your jungler, share 2 camps together, and then you can always TP to either one lane, or you can look at where the lane stop is going, so you make sure you get a decent start. They're on a ward now on the side of Fnatic, placed by Origen, so they know at least Huni and Reynov is on the top side of the map. They also see them leave and obviously walk into the shadows once again.
Origen trying to match that lane. They're going to see that they've chosen the wrong path. Nobody wants to show on that ward on the top side. That's why Mithy and Niels were hovering, but they see Reckless and Yalstar, and they're changing their path. They were ready to go to top lane, but they didn't move over that ward. They haven't revealed themselves yet. Now they're moving to the bot lane, so 2v2 with Tristana starting jump. However, it's already 2 minutes on the clock, and they're not even close to that lane.
You want the 2v2 lane here if you're Origen, and you want the one-on-one top for Soaz to be a little bit of a bully in the first few levels, at least. So smart play from Origen, but they're coming very, very late to this, so they're going to lose the push.
Yeah, but Reckless, he started with a jump, so a lot of zoning potential on this Corki and Thresh lineup. Let's see how aggressive Mithy will play it. he can find an opening.
And that Thresh, Mythy's been playing so confidently this series. Both games actually challenging Reckless and Yellowstar. We talked about how it's not the greatest of priorities for Mythy, but again, he's got very good statistics, very good performance, and he likes playing aggressive. He likes looking for roams and likes looking for those picks where he can.
It's again why when you see Origen in the draft, it's very often 80 carries for Nils where he can handle himself in the lane. So you enable Mythy to start roaming, join in with Amazing, flash body slam or hook, beautiful CC chain, and it's very easy to set up these ganks here or dives. Level 2 now for the bottom lane.
And interesting, what speaks to the confidence of Mythy and Niels in his bot lane is that Mythy is not running any sustain from Relic Shield. He went for the coin approach, so gets him more global gold on average. Obviously removes the lasting part of Relic Shield as well, which is a very hefty task, but no sustain for Niels, so Niels will have to be very careful in these trades. Mostly it's initiated because it's a melee matchup on the terms of supports.
Talking about melee matchup, it is Hecarim into Fizz in the top lane. Huni and Soaz both use their teleports, both have ignites. And let's see, we may get an early tower dive. Huni trying to bait out a little bit of a trade at Soaz.
Look at the position of the minions. They're slowly but surely pushing down towards Huni. So right now, Rainover is just going to sit here and he's going to wait for either Amazing to show himself and then he's going to counter gank it, or he's going to wait for Source to overextend when he's trying to shove out this wave. It's very normal for the jungler to go up and assist his top laner when the wave is pushing and they're going in.
Cocoon! Soaz is in trouble. Playful Trickster up and it's down. First blood to Huni. Amazing may be in trouble. Huni and Rainover are looking for more. The Cocoon's not going to be available and the minion line saves Amazing.
Such a good read from Fnatic in terms of where the minions were pushing down and how easy they can set up either gank or the counter gank, and that is so important when you have these matchups that can snowball so hard. There's no flash on either side. You can obviously just return if you're Fnatic.
And honestly, a big mistake on Soaz's part. He knew, or he should know, that this was coming. Now we see return gank from Rainover. He moves into the mid lane. Not going to do anything here because he's showing. He's just going to pressure in because February, he was poked out early.
It's good to see FLICKR playing confidently on this Azir. Out of mana now. But as I said, we've only seen it once before and it was a loss. We'd actually felt with 2 bans, maybe FLICKR and Origen weren't going to play it. So you need to evaluate his performance and just how good his drifts and his divides can be.
But just some mind games from Origen looking across the entire day. Start out by banning it 2 games in a row, clearly highlighting this is not something we want to value as a very early pick. And then when they leave it open, they tell Fnatic, hey, take a chance now. Either you pick it or we take it in the first rotation and you don't know if we played properly. Paid off for them for now, if FLICKR can execute on this Azir. Now we see return from Amazing at least on the top side. Last time he couldn't do anything because Source had already gone down when he showed up.
Waves pushing heavily against Fnatic. Soaz is at Huni's tower. If you look down bottom, Niels and Mythy are at Reckless's tower as well.
And it's the same again here. Amazing knows the wave is pushing out. It's a no-flash top laner, so he needs to be there as backup. So he keeps getting pulled towards the top lane and hasn't really gotten anything from it yet. Other than this time around, he made sure Source could push out the wave, reset the whole thing so he doesn't suddenly get denied because Fizz is standing there with a frozen wave.
You catch our eyes down bottom as we see Febervint getting a brief glimpse of Amazing. A few items picked up. Balmy Cinder for Rainover. 1 tick for the tank build that we're expecting. A couple of wards as well. And we see a slight deviation in stats in the mid lane. FLICKR has gone for the Fiendish Codex versus the Chalice for Reckless, and both 80 carries farming their way up. So despite the fact Reckless and Yellowstar got the lane early, they are now marginally behind Niels and Mythy. I think a lot of respect being given. That's twice we've seen Mythy fishing, but not finding any bait.
Yeah, that usually is the mark of just a bot lane. Very well spaced out, you know, both playing at max range, and it's so hard to find an opening. You try to curve the hook around the minion, but even if it hits, minor trades anyways, because Shen can always counter-engage with taunt. So bot lane's not going anywhere, mid lane's not going anywhere, so we might see the junglers return and just put pressure on this top lane. Not necessarily gank, but just deny experience and deny CS.
With that early kill for Fnatic, they have full control of the top lane. Only just mishing. That is a mix of obviously a fish and
a fish mishing.
A mishing. He's mishing it. A sneaky as well from him.
Actually, big facepalm from Huni as well. Really disappointed with himself there.
Huni's tail confirmed.
I'm not sure I'm willing to go that far. Deficio Flash Cocoon will secure the flash from FLICKR. So
FLICKR could have healed out of that one too, but he respected Rainover enough. Don't quite see where that Cocoon was going. Taunt might come on a Mythy here. I'll start looking for some zone.
Oh, the lantern! That's a two-hit taunt. Yellow Star.
What does it do though?
Take a few onto attacks. It'll deny CS and it sends that message that we love to talk about.
Rainover showed himself on the bottom lane. Not sure if Yellow Star just wanted Origen to think he'd overextended. And they can like turn around and maybe take a trade, then Rainover joined. But what we saw before is what we're gonna keep seeing. Soaz has fallen behind in the top lane, so we're gonna see the Fizz push down the wave to the tower, and that enables this very easy dive. Now we see Amazing though in the bottom lane, and Yellow Star is in trouble.
Yellow Star is in trouble. We can see Reckless though gonna jump forward aggressively. I don't think that Death Sentence connected from Mithy. Teleport was cancelled by Huni. The max range hook! And that's gonna be a kill here. Who will get it first? Yellow Star secures a kill for Fnatic. The Stars United is being channeled. Reckless is in full retreat.
Here's Rainover.
Give Reckless your power. It will not be enough. The taunt will secure another one. 1-for-2 trades.
What an absolute fantastically disgusting hook from Mithy, predicting the flash, but it didn't account for the turnaround damage. Good read by Reckless there. Gets the kill, jumps out, Stan United comes out. Massive outplay. Initially from Mithy, but then from Fnatic.
It does work out. I'm going to look for a Death Sentence, but Yellow Star, such great zoning, and this is the aggressive play from Reckless that we keep talking about.
We've seen this so many times today already. He knows the team is there to back him up. He wants to be the big playmaker. Mithy though, beautiful hook, and then the fight is on.
And then Ignite comes out, turns out the damage on Niels. Zekros jumps up, the only path we can take. Level up on Yellow Star 2 into Stan United. Yes, Shurima's coming down the river, but at least he's here already. Mithy has to flash play. The only way that play could have been even crazier if Mithy managed to play, interrupt the taunt.
Soaz was sitting ready at his own tower. He had teleport up and no teleport for Huni, and he didn't use it to try and join the fight. If you're losing your lane already, use that teleport to try and impact other lanes, because you can't really do a whole lot yourself. This is a very normal roam though for Mithy. After a fight in the bottom lane, if he knows the wave is going to be even or shoved out by Nils, he takes an early path to the top side, but nothing to do really.
It's ward inside Origen's jungle. That pink ward is placed several minutes ago. That was when Huni looked for the engage. Emperor's Divide defensively. Not going to stop a Cocoon. Featherfin's got the Glitzer on. The flash taunt, and FLICKR is down. Yellow Star once again sending messages via ninja delivery.
First gank, you got the flash. What do? You return. Connect another long-range Cocoon from Rainover. Flash taunt from Yellow Star, that secures the kill, so now you get pressure in mid lane. That opens up for you to invade into the enemy jungle, and look where Rainover is running now. He's in behind Soaz. If Huni pushes down this top wave, they can go for a dive.
Yeah, very textbook outplays here by Fnatic, really reading the situation right. Wants to go up by that pink ward that he procured earlier. Now Soaz is under pressure. He knows it's coming, but there's so little that he can do about it. He knows somewhere there's a spider coming, but he has to drop CS.
Was it a Deficio blessing or a Deficio curse? We'll see if the tower dive is going to take place.
Well, he needs to be under the tower though. I mean, hiding on the other side of the wall. But the key thing is he's missing out. He gets the experience. That's why he's hiding here as well.
Wow, how creative is that?
And obviously, Fnatic didn't expect him to be there. So he got some of the experience from the minions dying, but he didn't get the farm. So he keeps being super far behind, and all you need to do is apply pressure to force him off. TP is still available for him, and they're going to take a fight in the bottom lane. He can join.
The taunt will connect onto Mithy, but so does the flash body slam and
now.
the explosive cast. Featherfin is going to try to roam early enough, but it's Reckless that's down. Origen, they commit a lot, but they get themselves a kill, and they may get a tower as well.
And that's what you do when you're slowly bleeding farm on the top lane. You move away from the problem, and you create a problem somewhere else for your opponents. Origen moved down to the bot lane with 4 of their members. Expected forces Featherfin to roam, but then Expected takes the tower mid. So good reaction by Origen here. Instead of returning to that top lane, trying to chase loss, now they create new opportunities for themselves. An amazing, fantastic body slam flash.
Again, this was one of the big talking points coming into this series here. Origen getting standard lanes. Allow Nils and Mithy to show how good they are in the 2v2 lane. They're winning it this one here. That means they can take the tower. So despite having a losing top lane, they just turned around on the other side of the map. We see Soaz, he wanted to help out with teleport. He knows, I'm not doing anything on my own. My tower is going to go down. Let me at least try and snowball the rest of my team. What he's doing now as well is saying, I'm falling behind. So there's no reason to rush a Trinity Force. I'm not going to get it in time. Just go tank early on and just be a front line. Allow Nils and FLICKR to be the carries.
We'll see whether or not they're going to be able to carry Origen from the deficit. Fnatic have got a gold lead, a kill lead, and they're going to secure themselves a dragon shortly with control of the bottom half of the map. I'm still looking at that pink ward. It's just behind Origen's red buff. That's been there for 5-6 minutes now, maybe. And Febiven almost replies with the tower mid, but Peck is able to return, and he's got the wave flare to deal with it.
So 2 very, very low pink wards. Even if servers want to join.
That's pink ward vision, ladies and gentlemen.
Obviously,
Trademarked.
Origen has been playing on the bottom side of the map. Now TP in. That was a Shin joining.
It is, and Niels is down.
Party in the bot lane. From Fnatic, teleport behind. Flying from the left side. Tower dive straight up. Yeah, Fnatic just outmaneuvering Origen. Even if Origen knows that the plays are coming, there's absolutely nothing they can do against them. So they need to start pre-planning better. Because Fnatic are making these very, very beautiful strategic plays across the map.
Pekka just recalled before that play happened because he wanted that Nash's Tooth. So he's gone back a few times within the last few minutes. That means he couldn't apply any pressure mid with Amazing. So despite 4 members from Fnatic on the bottom side, only the top lane is getting pushed in. It's full HP, and you can see how Fnatic is rushing back to stop it from going down.
And Origen's team comp was going to spike in power in the mid game with the Trinity Force on their Corki, with Nash's Tooth now on Azir. Maybe that's where they're going to find some strength to contest objectives. Fnatic have a Trinity Force of their own in Huni. And Reckless is still farming his way up again. 3rd game in a row on this Tristana.
Fnatic reaching the point where if they group, they get very strong. And if not, they have a really good 4-1. Reckless is in good position. Even though he's down a couple of kills, he still does enough damage if he gets that shield from Lulu in the mid lane. Overall, top lane, Huni will just straight up savagely beat Soas to Pope in that top lane with that Triforce spike already. So Origen, they will need to find an opening. So far, the only opening really has been from Body Slam Flash, as the heroic pink ward falls, and hooks from Mithy. So we need to see a flash hook, a flash predict from Mithy coming out somehow to open up and siege down that mid lane, open up the map and make some plays.
As long as Huni doesn't have his teleport ready, predicting when the flank is going to happen is very easy for Origen. That's just ward on the side when you're grouping with Azir Corki, and you're going to see the Fizz run down. So as long as that is not available for Fnatic, we might just see them sit back and try and wave clear it out, and that's in favor of Origen. Source needs to sit under his own tower. Don't try and challenge Source up in this, or Huni up in this top lane at all. Just farm, wait till you can join your team, and then have an impact. But the grouping of Azir and Corki should mean this mid tower will go down very soon.
Role reversal of game 1, where Soaz was ahead. Now Huni is ahead, and Fnatic, I'm going to try to play around him. Huni's still not left that top lane, applying a lot of pressure. Good deep wards, at least start replacing heroic pink ward that just died shortly, and Fnatic seem comfortable and content to just keep farming and try to wait out their own pass fight.
Source is leaving the top lane right now, allowing Huni just to push it in. He wants to go down and try and secure some farm away from this bully up in the top lane. We've seen now both top laners being really far behind in one of the games, and Rain over
there.
That's important. You need that wave clear from Lulu. It was the last pick coming in for Fnatic, and they needed it because of the grouping and the poke from Origen. Now Soas, he cannot catch a break.
No, but he will most likely catch a taunt when Yellowstar decides to throw it. There's the onslaught of shadows. There's the taunt. Rocket jump for good measure. And an easy peasy kill. It's actually Yellowstar that gets it. I think it may have been an impact.
Yeah, really well played, and Fnatic's patience in terms of gameplay just highlighted right there as well. You cancel the charge from the Hecarim with the Tristana ulti, wait for him to ulti out, then taunt after him or on him. Just don't blow your cooldowns. Calculated play here. Mithy getting caught. Fish.
Oh, Huni's gonna get him. He's
Shen
not
as well.
United. Here comes Yellowstar. Yellowstar's gonna taunt up Niels. That's gonna remove the auto attacks. Huni's trying to get away. He goes back in. Yellowstar's not gonna have enough to get Niels down, but he may have bought enough time. He'll taunt up Amazing. That'll land into a cocoon. Emperor's Divide will knock Rain over back. He's gonna drop back down after the repel. Wild Growth will keep him up a few seconds longer, but it's Origen that trade 1 for 2.
Yeah, Fnatic should have been happy with the 1-for-1 where they got the first kill onto Mithy, traded for Huni because down the bottom lane you had a push going already, and you lost the chance of even taking a mid tower by moving all your members top and even being too late. So now, Origen being able to respond with the tower, very, very important for them, because this also gives Soas some gold, so he can be more relevant.
Yeah, a bit of a greedy play from Fnatic. They're taking out the support. You have to obviously bail, because he used just too many cooldowns on that kill on Mithy. If he dropped like a fly, but he did his job, soak up the cooldowns, and that's all you have to do. Find an opening somehow. Either baiting your opponents, using ultis, or getting these crazy flash big hooks. And now the mid tower is falling as well, so Origen crawling their way back into the game.
let's just remember how strong Origen is when it also comes to taking down the tower itself. Nash's Tooth on Azir, his own W applied onto the tower, Sheen proc from the Corki coming in, he's going to play the Rune King second, so even more attack speed being added up. Give them a few seconds at your tower and it drops extremely quickly. That means for Fnatic, when they're trying to set up this split push with Huni, they need to make sure they have enough wave clear sitting ready to stop that fast push coming from Origen. Otherwise, they're just going to go straight down the lane and say, Huni, you better teleport in behind us and try and take a fight, otherwise your tower is gone.
For Origen, despite falling very far behind in the first 10 minutes, they continue to find picks and claw them way back in. So as he is still down a large amount of gold and CS, but he's got that Frozen Heart, he's got the Spectre's Cowl, so he's building up some defensive stats, and the initiation power of that ultimate cannot be understated if Fnatic are grouped.
And we're going to have this setup now where we have double tank from Origen, so it's a strong front line. Fnatic is only running really the Elise, standing as the solo tank. So if Huni fails to get an engage on the backline of Origen, it suddenly becomes very difficult for him to have an impact in the fight. And then it's between Febiven and Reckless versus FLICKR and Nilsson, who can kill the enemy front line the fastest. Seeing as it's only an Elise on the side of Fnatic, that's going to be very quick for Origen to take down and then start getting on to the squishy members of Fnatic.
Dragon has spawned. Fnatic secured the first one uncontested thanks to their lead. Origen look like they're going to start this one out, but Fnatic, they've already channeled the teleport. Huni's going to arrive before Soaz can even start his TP. Origen in full retreat. Cocoon doesn't connect. Death Sentence does. The box goes down and everything to follow. Yellowstar taunts out defensively and has the wild growth to stay alive. Dragon secured by Fnatic. The Onslaught of Shadows catches Rain over. He does not have a repel. Losing one for Dragon, probably worth it.
Well, look how perfect Origen set up that Dragon here. They start the Dragon, they see the TP coming, and instantly they disengage. They back away, they use the lantern. Notice here again, they know if Huni cannot get into the backline, they can start using that very strong long-range poke they have from Azir and Corki. So the front line of Fnatic is not a problem, and now everyone is dead.
Well,
Things happen, champions died, spells were used, but it looks like Origen are taking out Tier 2 tower in mid lane.
so they got themselves, what's that, 2 kills,
2 kills on
and
tower.
a tower after losing the Dragon. Great play from Origen, obviously rotating back towards the middle lane. Is this a replay of what we missed? There it is. So this is the first
Do you
time
think
we're
lack of wave clear prompts and engage from Huni thinks he can survive with Stand United, but then the hook connects on Feven as well. It's a good thing what Mithy did there. He switches the targets. Because when you're all whacking away on that single target, you never expect the hook to switch, and then suddenly things happen. Champions were dead and spells were used, Trevor.
You know, and it's actually so unfortunate because the teams are reacting and punishing the smallest mistakes so quickly that even just trying to catch up on the action means we miss a little more. To summarize it, another kill, another tower. Fnatic still in the lead ever so slightly.
But very tempered, aggressive early games. I think we're gonna need more replays so these teams can make more plays off screen somehow.
I can support that decision.
So yeah.
Does Huni want to commit again?
All in all, it's pretty even. 8-7, 1,000 golden lead for Fnatic right now. Look at Baron though. They might actually go over it because they have Scuttle Cup. Yeah, they're going for the sneaky Baron. Crowd, don't give this away.
Fnatic is nearby though. Huni should go and check this one. He's so close. Walking by, he sees what's going on here, boys.
Oh, okay, defensive play. Lantern out.
And we're out.
Show him the waters.
He smelled something fishy right there. I really love that play, by the way. Giving the enemy Scuttle Crab.
You know what? That did not deserve a clap, and you should all feel bad.
Clap all you want, Stockholm. Keep clapping.
Good attempt.
I really like it. Giving away Scuttle Crab and then just giving this perception that you have information, but not actually getting to peek into the Baron pit, especially if you have plan B. If you all flash into the pit, maybe not the best approach, but you have Body Slime coming up, you have Lantern to get out, so overall...
Look what's going on now though. Origen can just walk straight down the mid lane because Fnatic instantly after they stopped the Baron, they split up in 1-3-1 and didn't realize Origen could just very fast push down. We talked about this. Corki with Trinity Force, Azir, how fast these towers will drop. Fnatic dropping the ball.
And they are now exposed. Inhibitor in the middle lane is open for attack. We did see Reckless pick up a static shiv 4 minutes ago. FebiVin still trying to farm up some power, but FLICKR with the Nashes and the needlessly large rod.
Over face checking here on Soaz.
Soaz might be in trouble. Onslaught of Shadows is available and used defensively. Buster Shot will not get the kill. FebiVin is looking for more on the side in the middle. Let's see where we can find him. The Flash Taunt does connect. There's Huni over from the side. Chum the Waters on Niels. It's exactly who he wants. He's going to be able to get away though, and Huni's in trouble.
The damage.
Wild Growth was used onto Yellow Star as he was channeling Stand United, and FebiVin's Ignite takes down Amazing. Death Sentence does not connect with anybody. A 1-for-2 trade, and Fnatic want the tower. Oh, that's going forward. Reckless looks for more.
Oh.
The crit was not enough, but the Lulu Autos are not going to be able to kill him. The red
Gets one at least.
Even
Reckless.
Sheepy is surprised.
Reckless is on fire when it comes to jumping forward on Tristan and knowing when he can get a kill and, of course, staying alive. The rest of his team was behind him.
FLICKR had Shurima's shuffle, oh, not Shurima's shuffle, Emperor's Divide available. So Soaz trying to catch Reignover, but finds himself caught a little bit. He ultis out and then gets the worst possible angle because he goes straight into Huni. Reignover will finish him off, but just keep watching Reckless and FLICKR's mana bar. This fight goes so long, they're completely out of mana, and eventually Reckless realizes that and jumps in aggressively yet again.
And remember, these fights is about can Huni get to the backline of Origen and who can then kill the front line first if he fails to do it. This game here, or this fight, he managed to do basically everything. He got to the back line, he got onto Niels. At the same time, the front line was gone from Origen because we saw Soaz getting caught out and run away. So there was no way for Origen really to win the fight. And that meant even with the tower, nothing they could do. Fnatic, 4 towers down, slightly behind in that department, but they are winning in terms of gold.
Oh, now Amazing. Gonna have the support of Mythic. Takes the Lantern out, setting up a potential pick. But Fnatic do not fall prey. Teleport's available for Huni. It will be available for Soaz shortly. And it feels like the Baron's the next big objective for vision control.
There's still 2 wards behind the Baron he can teleport to, but Origen also knows there was just a big fight. They saw Fnatic run back from the tower, so there shouldn't be any deep wards or a lot of them behind. If they wait, they will disappear when Mythic getting caught out.
He has been caught. FLICKR's been chunked by a couple of auto attacks. Reignover's not going to get caught by the death sentence. Teleport in from the back line on Huni. Pekka's been able to take over Reignover. The Chum the Waters doesn't find a target. Playful up, Trickster down. Lands on Soaz and Amazing. Soaz is going to be able to get away for the time being.
Oh,
Amazing's the focus. Huni stays alive. The taunt prevents Huni getting taken out. Another 1-for-1 trade. Jungler's down.
Such a close fight. Huni missed the ulti when he came in there from the flank, and yet the trade. 1-for-1, no Baron taking. He's just looking at everything. He doesn't even know what's going on. Nobody wants to kill him at the moment.
Yeah, that's a danger of fighting a Azir near choke points. Yes, one of you may get through, 2 of you may get through, but then he shuts the door. He just puts the Emperor's Divide in between at choke point. Fnatic couldn't reach Reignover. Luckily for him, he could buy some time with the repel. And we're gonna see this again. Keep your eyes on what FLICKR does once the Cuckoo Land dashes forward. 3-man Emperor's Divide, they can't get through. They have the time to take at least down, but luckily the hook doesn't connect off the repel. Bit of a misplay by Mithy there, and that just forces Soaz to ulti, so unlucky chain of events. Good sidestep, good play. Huni has to jump out. Amazing mispredicts the playful Trickster, so just ever so slightly, this series can turn any direction.
But there's barely any threat towards Reckless and FebiVin right now, because we see how Soaz is building full tanks, so he cannot go in and one-shot a target, even with like Home Guard TP for himself. Didn't even complete the Home Guard yet. But they can sit back and deal all the damage. Reignover getting hooked in by Mithy.
Well, Reignover's in a little bit of trouble. Repels up. He's going to find Amazing. Going to get knocked backwards. He will go down. So Fnatic got their 3rd dragon. It cost them their jungler's life. And Origen are moving towards Baron.
Yeah, they're moving towards Baron. They have another Emperor's Divide available to cut off a choke point. Yes, Scuttlecrab might be fading out right now, but Huni doesn't have teleport available, so he has to move over, probably through vision, so they can just start it and force an engage by Fnatic.
It looks like that's going to be the case. Fnatic in a 4v5. Reignover dead for 15 more seconds. Baron is down to 2,500. Origen looking to secure it. Can they do it? Yes! Origen get Baron, but they've already lost one. Defensive plays from the rest of the team. The death sentence connects onto Huni. He may be able to stay alive though. That's Reckless with one. The taunt will secure another. Aggressive
Here's
forward. Red buff for the slow. The explosion charge is there. Amazing's trying to get away. The boom, the slow. Reckless has got no mana, but he will have the whimsy. He's going to have the movement speed. Keeps applying the shots. Crit, taunt, hit, dead. Another one for FebiVin, 16 to 10.
FLICKR with his best Gandalf impression wasn't enough to keep them away. You shall not pass. We shall take the Baron, but that was unaccounted for Reckless. Yeah, just jumping in, getting another aggressive kill, and then the trampoline starts. Jump, kill, jump, kill, jump, kill. Almost gets a pentakill right there, and he's the man to watch because there's no threat at him at all.
Nothing can kill him unless we see FLICKR diving in with someone like Amazing, with Soaz, and just instantly trying to one-shot him, but then the Lulu's in the way, the Shin ulti is gonna be in the way. So there's so many shields for Reckless now. He's getting to the late game point of Tristana where the range gets longer and longer as well. He's going to be the big carry for Fnatic, and all the likes of Huni has to do is just distract the backline of Origen at this point, let Reckless do the rest of the job.
As it stands, Huni's dealt 16,000 damage to Origen's champions. SOAS has dealt 4,000. I do feel that SOAS building tank will affect those numbers, but our statisticians feel it is important to note. And the only member who survived that Baron encounter was FLICKR. So the only man that can now buff up those minions for the next few minutes will be Emperor Shurima.
Yeah, but Origen is not going to use it because FLICKR just shoved up top. Seems like he wants to go back to base instead. He's sitting on currently, only 600 gold. But he's pushing on his own together with Mythi. Not really exactly, not the strongest 2v2.
Stop hating on supports, Defizio.
Applying pressure. And therefore we can see Fnatic just say, you know what, we don't care. Pushing that one wave. We're going to go to the bottom side of the map instead. We have Tristana. Your tower will die in a few seconds.
Yet again, we just want to reiterate how important flanks are in this position of the game. If Huni can get a flank off, if SOAS can get a flank off, it can change an entire team fight, especially with the way Expected can divide these fights.
We see a different build from Huni this game here. Trinity Force into Rylai's. I've seen it a little bit in solo queue. I would expect him to go Leandri's Torment as the third item now to get... Basically, you have the Rylai's, which slows down the target together with your own ulti and so on, and then you apply that extra damage from the Leandris. Gives you a little bit burst coming in. Not the tanky route, though, we often see after Trinity Force from a Fizz. So he's he's gonna die very, very quick. That's all we can say.
Origen moving down the mid lane. Fnatic caught with their pants down in this 1-3-1. They're not in a position to trade inhibitors because the tier 1 or tier 3 tower in mid lane is already down. So Origen looking to kill the inhib and make their way out of there.
Origen are going to get to the inhibitor. How much damage can they do? Couple hits down. Recall already finished for Huni. He does have Home Guard to come in. Playful Tricksters forward, and a two-man taunt on the front line of Origen forces a defensive onslaught of shadows. SOAS rides the lantern out, and the passive from Azir will keep the tower alive. Rainover was in trouble. There goes Yellowstar, another taunt. Huni's looking for Mythi. Wild Growth will slow them down. Glitterlance connects as well. And Reckless plus, that's a kill to Reckless. That's a double. He's looking for more. That's a triple. He's looking for 4. That's the quadra. He will get it. The reset forward. Looking for a pentakill. We're in Sweden. The Swedish gets a pentakill.
Reckless is on fire today. He's jumping forward. He gets the kills. He wins the fight for Fnatic.
Origen get aced, get pentakill by Reckless. Look at the player cams. Origen are destroyed and Fnatic are ecstatic.
There's absolutely no threat from Origen when it comes to the backline of Fnatic with this full tank underfarmed Hecarim. So we see the fight start. Origen know, okay, we have to try and kite back because we have an Azir turret being built so we can use it to our advantage. We try and disengage as much as possible. But again, the damage dealers of Fnatic are left untouched. So it's just a matter of time before they say, okay, your front line is now low. We can start cleaning them up one by one. And what better champion to do that than Tristana? Get one, jump, get one, jump.
Yeah, what impressed me the most in that fight is the way Fnatic members went in and out of these fights. As we expect, it goes down to the top from Huni, as we were in replay, as this series will allow. But just, Fnatic, they don't overstep their boundaries. When they get greedy, they step out on a sliver of health. Somebody else, a new challenger approaches, and then step by step, they just use that sustain coming out of those shields, and eventually, Reckless is untouched, gets one kill, and then the trampoline starts, and he keeps going forward, eventually netting him a pentakill, and just beautiful, well-paced fight from Fnatic.
All credit to Reckless for his aggressive rocket jumps forward, but somebody needs to give Yellowstar a pat in the back. I do not think he's missed a taunt this game, especially the crucial ones. Another inhibitor's going to drop shortly in Fnatic. They earned themselves a 10,000 gold lead. They may even look for more.
Yeah, and a fantastic Shen build right now as well. This is a support Shen taking on SOAS as a top laner right here. Nothing's going to happen. Nobody's going to die. I just want to look at his build though. He goes for the face of the mountain first. Banner of Command second to add some split push pressure. But now he's going for Zeke's Harbinger. If Reckless wasn't already strong enough, he will be once that item gets completed. Yellowstar, is he really forcing SOAS out?
Yeah,
maybe with some help from
Huni's showing up and turning it around. SOAS is out of mana. This is what happens when you are full tank Hecarim and you don't do anything.
Look at my pony.
It's simply not amazing.
Give it to Yellow Star.
Huni gets the kill.
Greedy.
Easy peasy pudding and pie. Dragon number 4 was secured as well. I have to ask the question, did Origen have enough gas in the tank for only one single victory? We will find out because there is at least one more game. If Fnatic wins the next one, they guarantee that top seed at Worlds.
I mean,
But this is a crushing game.
Some of these sides were incredibly close though. Just one hook predict, one body slam on the play for FLICKR happening could have prevented a lot of these resets, you know, won the fight for Fnatic. They had good ideas in terms of zone control, shutting the door with the Emperor's Divide. A couple ballsy Baron attempts. I like seeing that, especially with the Scuttle Crab, so Origen definitely still have a chance.
I really enjoy to see how much the top lane as well is doing in this matchup between Soaz and Huni. Because we have seen the Gangplank coming in 2 games. This one here, 2 no-flash top laners against each other who wants to go aggressive in the early stages. And then with the impact of the junglers, always putting so much attention on the top side of the map early on. This game was in favor of Reignover and Fnatic. We saw the first pick at least really pay off. Last game, it backfired a little bit. They fell behind due to it. And so it's gone back and forth in this matchup, but suddenly the Elise pick for Reignover really showing the strong early ganks you can pull off.
Baron number 1 of this game secured for Fnatic, as Huni is continuing to just outtrade Soaz in every single regard. That tank build is not working, and Leandri's Torment is getting closer.
And that tower's gone.
In the blink of an eye. That support's gone as well. Febiven is going to get the kill. Niels will fall shortly. Huni's going to get that one. Amazing. 2,500 HP. That is just being melted. The bomb's going to secure it. A jump forward into the wall. Reckless cannot get that one. He will get some auto attacks down before Stand United, as well as that shield from Lulu, will keep him alive. All 3 inhibitors are down.
Yeah, Reckless just casual life-stealing up, double life-steal items right now. Baron buffs coming in on the C-screen, 5 against 2. Should be an easy close. Just how many kills can OG drag with them? Ignite on Huni. Huni?
Reckless gets another one, 13, 2, and 9, trying to send that message. The Glitzerlance almost takes Peck out on the fountain, and Fnatic go 2-1.
Very close early game in this one here. Origen gave up the top side, wanted to try and feed Nils even more. He won the lane together with Mithy, and of course with their pressure they got from Amazing once he swapped away from that top side. But then with Huni being a threat, and with the fact that Origen never managed to really use that mid-game spike to get a massive advantage, it meant we got to late game where this Tristana was just untouched.
Yeah, for me it all goes back to that initial cocoon in the top lane. You know, 1 cocoon to rule them, 1 cocoon to bind them. So as he got caught, just 2 more seconds, just wait for your jungler, make it a team effort, play together. He overextended in the minion wave, got caught, couldn't even use his ignite, and then doesn't even matter if you see the gank coming afterwards. You just forced off your tower, you fall behind in CS in this very volatile matchup.
But that's the risk you take, isn't it?
It's so tricky
Hecarim
though.
last pick into what could have been Fizz, what could have been Lulu, is a tough scenario for Origen.
Credit to Fnatic for having that flex option.
Yeah.
So use the blue side really well. They didn't know it was going to be Lulu top or Fizz top coming in. And then when you are a top laner in a snowballing matchup, and you're like, okay, am I going to give up the next 6, 7 CS because I know the jungler could be here? Source clearly said, you know what, I'm going to go for it. It backfired.
Yeah.
And it cost him a lot. He had to go full tank because he fell so far behind, and he had honestly no impact on the game.
Down 100 CS by end of it, 0, 8, and 4 on that Hecarim. It's actually a very similar situation to what happened the last time. This very similar matchup happened. The Assassin into the Engage power. Next game, Origen are on the blue side against Fnatic. It is potentially the last game of the European Summer Split. I was looking at the face cams, player cams rather, and Origen just looked distraught. They were not happy. After the pentakill to Reckless, it has to add more pressure. It has to break something.
It's never fun being down where you know the next game will obviously cost you the entire thing. But when you talk to Origen coming into this match here, Amazing was the only player really saying, we're going to win. I mean, come on, we're going to take them down. All the other players were kind of laid back a little bit, saying, okay, we're going to do our best, we're going to see what's going to happen, but we know Fnatic are the favorites. So even if you are down now 2 games, you look at the first game and said, okay, we managed to win it. You're on blue side now, so we should expect the Gangplank ban coming in from Fnatic. Maybe that opens up something they can use, a Kalista potentially. Not expecting Fnatic to leave that one open though.
Yeah, we'll have to think about those picks and bans and figure out how these teams are going to adjust. Fnatic is just one way away from guaranteeing that first place seed to the World Championships, as well as that Summer Split Championship trophy. As we take a break, let's take a look at another Coca-Cola viewing party, this time from the Multikino Warsaw in Warsaw, Poland. Fans are excited to see an exciting 4-game series on their hands. Let's hope it goes to 5. Thank you so much for tuning in at home, in Stockholm, and all around the world. We're back after this. Of the Summer Split Finals. Disconnected from Mippy. Teleport was cancelled by FLICKR. The max range hook! And that's going to be a kill here. Who will get it first? Yellowstar secures a kill for Fnatic. The Stand United is being channeled.
Elise. Good job. I cancel this.
No.
Behind. Huni.
Yeah.
Yellows are after. Frontline every time.
We can go soon again.
No
And Reckless plus that's a kill. That's a double. He's looking for more.
Kill.
That's a triple. He's looking for 4.
Bring the
And Fnatic go 2-1.